Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to share some more nerdy quirks that I have. And this particular episode, I want to talk about item usage in video games. Because obviously this is kind of a quirk I've learned that other people kind of have as well. Where people kind of have a tendency to hoard items. Because then you get to like the end of the game and you'll be like, oh, I have all these items I never use. Because I was like, oh no, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. And you just end up at the end of the game like, oh, I never used any of it. Like that's a recurring quirk I feel like I hear from a lot of gamers. Especially people who have a tendency to play JRPGs. I feel like that's where that kind of resonates the most. I'm sure there's other games, but that's the one I hear it the most with JRPGs of like, oh yeah, I've held on to these mega elixirs and I'm so strong now I don't really need them. I mean, usually those I feel like are used for like stuff at the very end or not unless you're doing like secret and super bosses in video games and stuff like that. But it's a quirk that I definitely have when it comes to JRPGs in particular, like, you know, Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts, I am notorious for never using my items. It just, I don't know why. I think it's the whole, I think it's the same aspect that kind of gets inside of other people's head that it's such a limited thing that you want to hoard them. Like, because like anytime I play a Kingdom Hearts game, I can't help myself to not use the items. Like I kind of hate using items, but obviously it's a thing of you kind of need them unless you're really good at avoiding taking damage. Because obviously, like you're using Kingdom Hearts, for example, the first Kingdom Hearts, you don't get Cure until Deep Jungle, which is like the third, technically the fourth world you visit in the game. And that's also if you decide to go to each world in a chronological order of difficulty, then it would be like the fourth world you end up going to. But that's kind of a long time to go without Cure, so you kind of need potions, which kind of irks me that I would need them. But it's just one of those things. Even to that point, like obviously it's like, obviously I'm one of those people who also takes all the potions and ethers and stuff off of Donald and Goofy. Usually I'll let them use the first batch, whatever they're equipped with, you can use them, but then like afterwards I never ever equip them with items again. Same thing for any like hero specific heroes from each specific world. I usually kind of like, I might, if I remember, I'll immediately take off all their items and stuff like that. That's typically how I've rolled in every Kingdom Hearts game. That's typically how I see a lot of people roll in Kingdom Hearts games. And then obviously usually only equip Sora with stuff. Usually I'll equip them with like potions or high potions, but I'll try to avoid using them. I'll only use them when 100% necessary. And then when I get Cure, I'm like, I'm never going to use items again unless it's that situation of like Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 where it's like, oh, you have a bar and you kind of have to wait for it to charge. And I'm always that person who has a tendency to wait. Because I'm always a dude that's like, rather than using items, I'm going to use magic, just because I don't know why. It's just, which even magic has its limits, because eventually you're going to run out of MP depending on what game you play. Whether it be a Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, you're going to run out of MP, and then you're going to need to use an ether, which even then, I think about it now, I don't think I've ever really even used ethers in Kingdom Hearts, because I'm just like waiting, dodging around until like my MP gets recovered anyway. But once again, I'm going on this huge tangent about it. But even like stuff like I make exceptions in certain regards, like obviously like in a Final Fantasy you got your status effects. I mean, I'll try to use Esuna like to kind of cure any status effects unless it's like it's just faster in some cases, like depending on everybody's turns and stuff like that. I'm like, let me just use a, you know, an echo screen or an antidote or, you know, or an eye drop, whatever the status effect may be, or a remedy, you know, in certain cases where like or you know, whatever, you know, the circumstances may call for. The game that really broke me on using items though was like FF15. I went nuts with using items because, I mean, truth be told, items is like your only means of healing in that game. I think, to my recollection, I could be wrong, but the only other ability in the entire game that lets you heal is Ignis's regroup ability. That's it. But the reason why I talk about FF15 in particular, because FF15 makes you use like elixirs and mega elixirs like they're potions. Because potions are just like weaker, obviously, healing items, and they're just kind of nothing, but like elixirs and mega elixirs. Also because of the way health works in that game, like you have like a certain like elixirs and mega elixirs heal your full bar, because after a certain point, like, you know, you have like double health in the sense that like you have a full bar, but then after, when you take so much damage, when your health is recovering, if you don't fully recover, like you'll have like, I don't know what the actual terminology would use for it, but like if you play FF15, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like especially like if your characters like get KO'd, their HP bars start shrinking, and when you bring them back, it only fills up to a certain amount. You get what I'm trying to say? So like mega elixirs and elixirs like fully restore your health, but also like they're fairly cheap and you can buy them kind of fairly soon in a game, whereas like every other game it's like, oh, you have to find elixirs and mega elixirs like in chests and stuff like that. They're not that easy to come across. I think Kingdom Hearts makes exception for that. I think you can buy at least elixirs and stuff, maybe I think, like I said, I could be wrong. I'm probably mistaken, but it's just like typically they're rarer items that you kind of have to come across, so that's why you kind of want to hoard them. But once again, FF15 is like, oh, buy them, buy as many as you want. Like you pop like elixirs and mega elixirs like they're Kool-Aid in that game, and it's actually nuts. So it kind of breaks me of that a little bit, just because that's the only means of healing. Like I said, I know this is a quirk that not only I have. I've heard quite a few people who play video games had the same thing as well. I'd love to get to know your thoughts about it in the comments down below. Are you one of those people too who hoards items like that? Or are you like, nah, I pop them, I'm using whenever I need to, because maybe you're like me and you suck at video games and you're like, I need to like pop items whenever I need them. Which is so interesting, because I suck so much at video games. The fact is, I'm still reluctant to use items. It's like, oh, like that's why a lot of times I end up getting game overs, because I'm like so reluctant to use items. There's also an instance of like, you know, when I use an item that kind of pisses me off, because I'm like there's a strategy in FF13 when one of the super bosses, it's like the final Lassie mission, I think it's like 64, 65, that it's one of the super bosses in the game. There's a trick to using, like if you use an elixir, it repairs your, your TP bar? I forgot what the bar is called. It's the one that basically lets you use summons. And basically a strategy for fighting, at least one of the strategies, the one I used, I'd seen online, was basically use Hecaton, Vanille's Eidolon to kind of fight, and that ends up it helps out a lot in that super boss. Well, the problem is one of the achievements I'm missing in FF13 is getting 5 stars on all the Lassie missions. I'm missing 2. I've talked about this years ago. That being the giant cactus and the super boss. They're the only ones I haven't 5-star, and obviously because I used my elixir the first time through, I should have immediately reset. But I think at that time I didn't know that was the achievement. But those are the only 2 achievements I'm missing. Those are only 2 fights I'm missing for that achievement, and it just kind of bugs me. And it's one of those instances of I should have never used that elixir, because I think there's only like 1 or 2 in the entire game. I want to say there's only 1. I could be mistaken, so it's super rare in that game. But regardless, once again, went on a whole bunch of tangents. Going back to the point, let me know your thoughts about everything in the comments down below. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about today. Next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.